The distress beacon wasn't human. That alone should have made me ignore it. I was 3 weeks out from the nearest trade lane, drifting through the pale blue haze of the Krellis expanse, an interstellar graveyard of failed colonies, frozen rogue worlds, and the wreckage of ships that had underestimated deep space. My freighter, Wayfarer's Mercy, wasn't armed for combat, and I was flying solo. In that region, survival depended on one rule: don't answer calls you don't understand. But the beacon was weak, flickering, desperate. And I'm human. We have a long history of breaking our own rules when desperation sounds close enough. I traced the signal to a frozen moon barely large enough to hold an atmosphere. Surface temperature, lethal to most known species. Storms of crystallized nitrogen swept across the ice fields, howling like something alive. I should have logged the coordinates and left. Instead, I put the Wayfarer down on the ice. I found her half buried near a shattered ridge, her body outlined in frost. She was tall and lean, wrapped in torn thermal hides, her skin a deep midnight blue traced with pale silver markings. A huntress, judging by the broken spear clutched in her stiff fingers and the trophies braided into her hair. Her eyes snapped open the moment my shadow crossed her. She tried to rise. Failed. Her limbs trembled violently, her breath coming out in shallow, steaming gasps. Whatever species she wasn't built for this level of cold, not without shelter. She raised her head just enough to look at me. Human, she rasped, her voice sharp but fading. Do not fear me. That was not reassuring. I'm not, I lied, kneeling beside her. My suit heaters were already struggling. You're freezing to death. Her jaw clenched. I know. For a moment, pride alone kept her conscious. I could see it, the refusal to beg, even as her muscles failed her. Then she swallowed. May I, she said carefully, seek refuge in your ship, to feel warm? The words cost her something. Among hunters, among warriors, asking for shelter from prey or stranger was a loss of honor. I didn't hesitate. Yeah, I said, slipping my arms under her shoulders. You can. She was heavier than she looked, dense muscle under the frost. As I lifted her, she stiffened, instinct screaming, but she was too cold to fight. Inside the Wayfarer's Mercy, I sealed the hatch and cranked the internal heat to maximum. The sudden warmth made her hiss in pain, her body spasming as circulation returned. Easy, I said. Thermal shock. You'll be all right. She collapsed against the bulkhead, sliding down to the deck, chest heaving. Frost melted from her skin, revealing scars, old ones. Deep ones. The kind earned over a lifetime of hunts. I wrapped her in emergency blankets and sat back, giving her space. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. The ship hummed. Outside, the storm screamed. Finally, she looked at me again, really looked. You did not bind me, she said. No, I replied. Didn't seem necessary. Her silver markings pulsed faintly, shifting in hue. You are alone, she observed. Most of the time. She nodded slowly. So am I. Her name, once she was warm enough to speak clearly, was Kael'Thyra of the Sinai clans. A huntress by right, exiled by circumstance. Her prey on that frozen moon had been something ancient and dangerous, a creature her people feared but revered. She had slain it, and been caught by the storm before she could escape. My kind endure heat, she said quietly, flexing her fingers as warmth returned. sun worlds, burning plains. I thought I could endure cold as well. Cold doesn't care how strong you are, I said. Trust me. She studied my ship, its patched panels, mismatched systems, and layers of human improvisation. You live inside a machine that creates warmth from nothing, she said. You defy nature. I snorted. Nah. We just argue with it until it gives up. That earned me a strange, clicking sound from her throat. Laughter. She stayed aboard for 2 days while the storm passed. I gave her the spare bunk and adjusted the environmental controls to suit her physiology. She, in turn, helped me recalibrate my external sensors. Her species had evolved senses that put most scanners to shame. We talked about her hunts, about Earth, about how humans were considered fragile across much of the galaxy, short-lived, soft-skinned, lacking natural weapons. You should not survive, she said bluntly. Yeah, I agreed. We get that a lot. On the third night, I woke to find her standing in the cockpit, staring at the stars. You could have left me, she said without turning. Most would have. Most aren't human, I replied. She faced me then, eyes reflective in the dim light. My people believe warmth is life, she said. To share it is the highest mercy. She stepped closer, placing one clawed hand over her chest. You shared yours freely. I shrugged, suddenly uncomfortable. You needed it. That is not how the galaxy works, she said. But it is how you work. When we finally lifted off, I offered to take her to the nearest sun I-controlled system. She shook her head. I am huntless now. Clanless. Until I earn a new claim. I hesitated. You're welcome to stay aboard for a while. At least until you decide. Her markings flared softly. You would offer shelter again. Yeah, I said. I've got heat to spare. She considered me for a long moment. Then she bowed her head, deep, formal. Then I will guard your ship, she said. And your warmth. With my life. The galaxy noticed us eventually. A human freighter with a Sinai Huntress aboard drew attention, some curious, some hostile. Pirates learned quickly that wayfarers' mercy was not easy prey. More than once, Kael'Thira stood at my side, spear in hand, daring attackers to test us. And when the cold of space pressed in, when engines failed or systems flickered, it was always the same. She would glance at me, silver eyes steady. You are warm, she would say. We will survive. And somehow, we always did. In a universe that judged strength by claws, armor, and ancient bloodlines, it turned out humanity's quiet defiance, the refusal to let others freeze alone in the dark, was its own kind of power. Not loud. Not cruel. Just enduring. And sometimes, that was enough to change a life, or save one.